Very short video here, guys. We're looking at Act 5, Scenes 2, 3 and 4 of Macbeth. So this is where the momentum I referred to in an earlier video in Act 5 really takes off. So we have what's going on inside the castle, what's going on outside the castle at Dunsinane, where Macbeth has holed up. Don't forget, this is all in your in your notes book. So the conclusion of the play is incredibly dramatic, and there is a real sense of momentum built up by these short interchanging scenes. Act 5, Scene 3 takes the shape of a short conversation between these Scottish lords. All of these lords have assembled to support Malcolm because Macbeth is the tyrant and Malcolm is seen as the rightful heir to the throne. So therefore Malcolm has the right to demand the attendance of the Lords of Scotland in support of his cause. We hear Menteith talk about how Malcolm has come to Birnam Wood. Don't forget the witch's prophecy. Now again, had Macbeth not gone to Dunsinane, as the witches said, if you go to Dunsinane, you'll be safe. Okay? Had Macbeth said, well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to go to Dunsinane. Well, then that prophecy can't come true. Then the Birnam Wood prophecy wouldn't come true. So we have to remember the witches do have the power of prophecy, but Macbeth has the power to stymie those prophecies. So Malcolm has arrived near Birnam Wood, and he's accompanied by this man, and is pronounced Seward. So it's spelled S-I-W-A-R-D, but it's pronounced Seward. And importantly, we hear that Seward's son, who is described as an unrough youth, so that means that he's too young to grow a beard, so he's a child. That's important. We find that out later on. Is amongst the army that's come to try and end Macbeth's reign. Macbeth has holed up at Dunsinane, we hear, and Angus informs the audience that Macbeth's supporters are deserting en masse. So all he has is terror to hold his army together, but his army are deserting him nevertheless. And we get a sense that the battle is approaching. Act 5, Scene 3 then switches inside Dunsinane. So we have the gathering army to attack Macbeth, then we have inside, and we have Macbeth. And in this scene, his mania and desperation are obvious. He is a broken and tragic figure. The man, the hero of the start of the play is gone. But there is, when you compare what he has become to what he was, when you compare the final outcome to the potential outcome, there is some sympathy for him. He gives this wonderful speech where he says, he won't have any of the rewards that a person would expect in old age. Love, honour, I'll show you the quote in a moment, friendship. But of course, there's a wonderful irony there because he's feeling sorry for himself because he can't have any of those things. But he used to have all of those things. He used to be loved. Brave Macbeth, well, he deserves that name. He used to have honour. It is a peerless kinsman. He used to have friends. Banquo was his best friend. What did he do with all those things? He threw them away. He threw them away in pursuit of his ambition. So while we hear him reflecting on all that he's lost, and initially, I wrote here, there's a bit of pathos there, like sadness. We feel sad for him. But then that, for me anyway, has to be replaced by anger. This is self-pity. This is a man who has done terrible, terrible things. Not because anybody made him do it. The witches weren't pulling his strings. They're not puppeteers. He always had freedom of decision, freedom of choice, and he made decisions. So it's hard to watch him now feel sorry for himself. What's interesting here is that he will not recognize his sins and beg for forgiveness. He says he will fight until the bitter end, and he doesn't care about the implications of his decision for others. Now, what's really, really, really significant here is whether or not Macbeth is heroic at the end of the play. Now, you'll see if you've read the play, but you'll see in the videos to come that he fights bravely at the end. Lay on, Macduff, and damned be he who first cries holy enough. Or, I'll fight till from my bones the flesh be hacked. And in that sense, what Shakespeare's doing is reminding us of, the Macbeth of Act 1, the blood-soaked Bellona's bridegroom, the hero of Scotland. However, what we have to remember is that his determination to continue fighting is going to cost the lives of others. And just as consistent with what he was like at the beginning, when Macbeth is willing to use violence, he doesn't care. He never considers. He's not interested in the impact of that violence on others. So once again, in this scene, we have this kind of, oh, well, I got reminded why I liked him. He's very brave. He's not afraid of battle. But then at the same time, you're going, oh, God, that's awful. He really is a repugnant, unpleasant character. He has to go. Shakespeare wants us at the end of the play to be a bit torn. That's why he's a tragic hero. We want to kind of, in some ways, be reminded of why we liked and admired him. And then on the other hand, go, God, he's a monster. He has to go. As the scene ends, he is told about his wife's illness. And he's utterly dismissive of it. He tells the doctor, just go and find a cure. And his disinterest in Lady Macbeth's suffering is indicative of how much he has changed. In Act 1, he was utterly devoted to Lady Macbeth. By Act 5, she's of absolutely no importance to him whatsoever. Let's have look at a couple of those quotes. Here he is, he's been told, all the lords of Scotland are gathering against you, and he says, bring me no more reports, let them fly all, till Birnam Wood remove the Dunsinane. You know, there he is. And it's pathetic. He's like strong. Yeah, I'm protected. But he's not. He's weak. He's in the hands of the witches. He believes in them. They're sitting off somewhere watching all this, cackling and laughing at how weak he is. And again, we're reminded, aren't we, of how Hecate just nailed him. He shall spurn fate and, scorn hope. And places hopes above wisdom, grace and fear. She was 100% correct in that. Here he is feeling sorry for himself, thinking about that which should accompany old age, as honour, love, obedience, troops of friends I must not look to have. And he's very reflective. The language is poetic. We're reminded of the Macbeth of Act 1, the Macbeth who, delivered that wonderful vaulting ambition soliloquy in Act 1, Scene 5. But look, lads, the truth of it is that Macbeth is alone and has no honour, and has no friends, and has none of those things because of choices that he made to kill other human beings in order to achieve his ambitions. So we can't feel sorry for him. Again, I mentioned a quote earlier on. I think it's brilliant. The alliteration of the F, I'll fight till from my bones their flesh, and then the onomatopoeia of hacked. Give me my armour. And again, there's Shakespeare, as I said, ringing that memory bell, reminding us of what Macbeth was like at the beginning of the play. Brave, fearless, at ease on the battlefield. But again, here we have him saying, I'll fight until I'm killed. But that means that other people are going to die. He doesn't give a shit about other people. He is utterly narcissistic. The only person in Macbeth's world who matters to Macbeth is Macbeth. And that hardly makes him heroic, does it? Final thing in this little video, Act 5, Scene 4, probably the most inconsequential shortest scene in the play, but something happens in it. Malcolm is seen ordering his army to chop down the branches of the trees in Birnam Wood. The idea being that as his army approaches the forces of Dunsinane, they hold the branches up, then it'd be difficult for the defenders to assess the size of the army. It's a strategic, tactical decision, but of course what it does is it shows the witches, again, have the gift of foresight. But as I go back and say again, if Macbeth had not decided to go to Dunsinane, the place that they warned him, they said, oh, you'll be safe there. Had he not decided to go there, well then Malcolm's not chopping down the branches of the trees of Birnam Wood. So while the prophecy does come true, it comes true because of Macbeth's decisions. They merely see what he's going to do. So that's the end of that little analysis of Act 5, Scenes 2, 3 and 4.